So I think this is a really simple, really basic, but nice way to talk about innovation instead of talking about it in terms of, oh my God, it's crazy, it's very intangible. It's a very tangible way to represent it. Front pages of sites like The Verge, Fast Company, and Wired tell us that innovation is all about coolness, newness, crazy ideas about these crazy, amazing things that are going to blow our minds in the future. Whereas pragmatic, iterative product updates are put to the side to make way for these moonshot fetishes, like these really exciting things. So this excitement around innovation and this view on innovation of being about newness and being about exciting new things, this is not a problem for the consumer. For the consumer, it's great to watch these things happening, to watch these things unfold and to be entertained. But for larger companies or companies who are just not yet really after getting to grasps with building products or even going digital, this can be destructive. And the reason is because they focus so much on ideas and they focus so much on excitement and newness that they don't think about really what it is to build a product and really what it is that make these products successful. If you look at Apple, one of the companies that gets both sides of the story, so they get a lot of angry headlines every year when the new iPhone comes out or the new iPad comes out because they're so iterative. But on the other side, they're seen in hindsight and overall as a very innovative company. When you look at Apple, you don't think about the pragmatic, tiny iterations that led to all of these things happening. These companies see it all as this one big blast of this is an innovative company, Tesla is an innovative company, Google are an innovative company. If we want to be innovative, we have to make these crazy different things. The thing is, you don't really need to make crazy different things to be successful on the market. And most products that are out there are just small iterations of things that already existed. Apple almost never brings anything out besides the first iPhone where it's completely new and completely different to whatever else is there. It's usually just very well executed small bits and pieces of what's happening on the market. Apple usually just looks at what's happening on the market, waits around for years, and then attacks one angle and does it really, really well. Execution is completely ignored when people think about innovation, but execution is actually, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of the entire equation for building great products, for building innovative products. In a book called Anything You Want by Derek Sivers, he laid out a very simple equation, not necessarily related to innovation, but something I think can be used very, very well to calculate how important ideas and newness are versus how important execution is. And the way he laid it out is that on the left side, you have the idea from, terrible to really, really great. And on the right side, you have execution from terrible to really, really great. And the ideas are just a multiplier for the execution. And it's the execution is where the money is actually made. And I think this is a really, really great way to look at products. Rather than saying how innovative is it, rather how new of an idea of it was it, and how well executed was it. Let's look at the new iPhone, the iPhone 10, right? So how good an idea do you think the iPhone 10 was? Because this product, like smartphones have existed on the market for 10 years now, everyone pretty much knew what it was going to be about. You'd probably say that the idea was so-so, right? But the execution was brilliant. So you get 5 multiplied by 1 billion, 5 bill. Pick a company.
Netflix?
Okay, Netflix. Actually, Netflix, they started with renting out, but they were one of the first companies to really do this online. I think Netflix is actually a great idea executed brilliantly. Netflix is a rare one. Let's look at the Pixel,
is that any good?
The Google Pixel. Let's look at the Pixel XL because it's the more interesting one. I'd say that was a so-so idea because it's a smartphone, pretty much looks like everything else. And here's the thing, the execution was only good. A lot of problems with the Pixel XL. One more. What about us? What about AJ&Smart? How about that business? The idea was to start a design agency, right? That was the idea. I would say that is an awful idea, right? In terms of business, let's be nice to ourselves. Maybe it's a so-so, who cares? It's a who cares idea. But I think we're executing it great so far. And that means we must be making Oh my God. It's a $5 million idea.
Ooh, do I get that?
So I think this is really the perfect way to show your stakeholders or people within your company what innovation really means and what that actually could mean on a business sense. If your company is like getting really obsessed with having an excellent, amazing idea, like this crazy thing that's different to everything, but they can only kind of execute it so-so, maybe now they can quantify what that actually means rather than focusing on having a good idea executed brilliantly or executed great. Well, what I'd recommend doing is showing some case studies. Show them the most popular and most innovative companies in the world. Show them Google. Show them that most of their revenue comes from still their ad business. Show them the biggest Silicon Valley companies and show them what they really, really are and how they started. They didn't start with this huge explosion of, oh my God, this crazy thing. They usually started out as a maybe slightly boring, maybe slightly different take on something that already existed and then executed and got the right product market fit and just nailed it. With the design sprint, within 4 days, you already put an idea in front of the users and you get a very good idea of whether this is something market ready or it's something that people are going to buy into or not. Very often it's the boring and more obvious ideas that end up working rather than the big, flashy, exciting things. And especially if you're a company that wants to put a lot of money into one project and you're saying, I want to do this big VR thing or big AR thing, and we're going to put a lot of resources behind it, I would recommend running a 1 week or 2 week design sprint to at least see whether that's something viable, or is it just going to be a vanity project that's going to fall apart when you bring it to the market. The main idea here that I want you to know is that successful products are not all about this newness and difference and craziness and excitement. It's more about how well executed it is in the end. Execution is something that companies should really focus on getting better at, because if you're great at execution, even having a bad idea can be very, very valuable, and slowly building up your strength in creating ideas is something you can invest in later. Once you have your baseline of being able to execute, that's the time when you can think about experimenting with trying out new things, new technologies, and seeing whether they work on the market or not. But you really need to watch out for this execution step and don't ignore it just because the headlines tell you that the next Snapchat rocket is about to fly into space. So thanks for watching this video. Jonathan here from AJ&Smart in our office. While everyone's trying to work, I'm making this video. We appreciate your likes, we appreciate your comments and your subscribes. Ask us anything in the comments, we'll answer. And I have a question for you. Does anyone have a stupid question I can ask on YouTube? The question for YouTube today is, are you buying the OnePlus 5T, which this guy just bought, which is...
Andre! Really?
Yeah.
What's good about it?
Yes. I actually like the finger.
Like the finger, it feels really... Okay, so are you buying the OnePlus 5T or are you buying the iPhone 10? That's the question I want to know. Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye.